So here we are again. Effendi,
Awake and alive, smoking.
as always. Effendi,
What do you want now?
you have a ladybug sitting on your head.
A lady is sitting on my head.
A kind of lady.
Give
A
me,
bug lady.
Give me. I'm afraid. Of
Huh?
animals. I'm afraid of animals. No?
You don't have to
Whoa.
be afraid of this, it's fine.
It will bite?
I don't know.
Oh, how beautiful ladybug. It lost one leg. Or two.
Maybe the cat played with it a little bit too
Maybe
much.
the cat.
Yeah.
You see? What was on my head? Very beautiful. Okay, you put it here. Sleep.
So we continue reading your book.
Yes, please.
Okay, so today we start with the next chapter, chapter 2. It's, well, the introduction. What is a healer? There are certainly countless answers to this question, often influenced by social or cultural background. As I understand it, this is a person who is in contact with an invisible force in order to ask for help for humanity and all of creation. However, whether this help is given is ultimately always the decision of the force. We do not know where this force is, whether inside of us or outside. The healer, man or woman, is always aware that he or she is but an instrument in the hands of this power. This realization saves the healer from ending his days as an arrogant and self-important person. Healers love creation and its creator. They serve humanity in the name of the power, the origin of all existence. They are here to help people feel their lives, instead of spending their days thinking about life and trying to figure out how life works. To live life, not to think it. To be in the present moment.
You let me know because it's getting warm under my head and I can take it off. Okay?
Well, we spoke about healers. We have seen you in your disguise.
No, it's okay?
Now it's okay.
Okay.
Yes, you can take it off.
You can take it off. Thank you. I'm starting to sweat.
Because it's getting warm.
It's getting warm.
Yes.
Okay.
Finally, it's getting warm. The story of the Beatles at the breakfast table comes to mind as an example of what it means to be in the present moment. John says, "Let's not forget to think about all the social injustice." Paul says, "And don't forget all the poor, abandoned animals." George says, "We should also think about our spiritual life a little." And then Ringo, "And what do you think about having breakfast?"
You see how easy? Not to think, to be in the present moment, to be in the present moment. To enjoy what you do. And not to think that you have to be in the present moment, because then you spoil the present moment by thinking about something else. You are not there. So just try to be there. Okay.
Not far from here, in Valencia, there lives a doctor, a surgeon. This man is now over 80 years old but still active. He has a private practice in his home and gives courses on his healing method on weekends. This man has worked in the city's most famous hospital for over 40 years. He undertook all of his operations without artificial anesthesia and without medication, and with a 0.0% infection or swelling. He simply asked his patient to repeat the following words: "My left leg is under psychological anesthesia." As soon as the person repeated these words, the doctor took his scalpel and began to open the leg while talking to his patient. This often happened in the presence of other doctors and nurses, but they mostly didn't want to believe what they saw with their own eyes. How is that? I mean, it happens in front of them.
So, you see, if someone wants to see that, it's on YouTube, and that doctor is called Dr. Escudero. There are apparently 70 videos on YouTube where you can see operations where he says to a woman, repeat with me, my left leg is under psychological anesthesia.
Mm.
And she said that, and then he started to open her leg. While he is talking with her, she is laughing, and he says, "So where have you been this weekend?" "Yeah, we went to the beach with my husband." "What were you doing?" "Eating. It was so nice." And meanwhile, he's asking for some scissors from his helper. And the helper comes and put his elbow on the other leg, waiting for the surgeon to take the scissors.
Mm.
And the lady said to the surgeon, "Could you please tell your helper to take his elbow from my leg because it's painful." Meanwhile, he's cutting into pieces her other leg. So he can very precisely, it's a very gifted person. He can say, only my finger is under anesthesia, only my leg, and it's only that part that will be under anesthesia. The rest is normally awake. And you can see in the room where he's making his operations, all the equipment for anesthesia, it's in one corner or covered with a big piece of textile, because he never uses it. So, and people, they see that and they say no, they don't want to believe. There's maybe some hidden trick or something. They figure out with their mind how to escape and explain that. That's an extraordinary gift that man has. I mean, that you can do things with hypnosis, but it's a longer process. He can do that directly, and it's happening. What I doubt about is that he can teach it. That, for me, seems to be
he can teach the technique.
Yeah, a tool to make money. Because I think he is asking 300 euros for maybe 5 hours of teaching, and I never read a comment from someone who said, "I really learned that," because I think you cannot learn it. I think that's a gift the man has, and no, he can explain maybe what he is doing, but his gift is involved, so he cannot give that gift to another person.
In either case, it's not really his, right? But it's given to him.
No, it's given to him, so he through him that can happen, but maybe not through another person. What are you laughing at? No,
I would suggest if we try, but maybe.
You do that with hypnosis, and you can try if you get better and better, and you suggest to it's a certain process that you say, tell me from 1 to 10 how much pain you feel, and you make them like that. No? You pinch the skin, and they say 5 or whatever. And then you say, okay, now we go a little bit deeper. How much do you feel now? Oh, 2. How much? Oh, I don't feel anything. In that moment, then you can take a needle, you lift up the skin that you do not do harm to the person, and you can pass the needle through the skin of that person. And it's very astonishing when you wake the person up and they look and say, "Oh, what's that? The needle." And there is no blood, there's nothing left. When you take you can say to them, "Take the needle out," and they take it out, and there's nothing left. So it's a process of hypnosis. Only if we do that, it takes longer. And that man can do it in 1 second. Yeah. Read.
In the same city, in Valencia, there's a large aquarium with dolphins. Mentally disabled children are brought there so that they can spend some time with one of the animals. This treatment does not cure the children completely, but they enjoy being with the dolphins and are suddenly able to do things that would normally be impossible for them. A child of about 10 years old who had been born with his hands clenched into fists.
Like that, couldn't open the hand. Never. The mother said he never opened his hand, he cannot.
Had never opened his hands, was placed on the water face up. The dolphin swam under the child and nudged the boy's head several times with its nose.
It was very funny, because the dolphin was standing like that, the guy was swimming, floating there, and the dolphin made like that with his nose to the boy.
Now the dolphin's keeper took a fish in his hand to give it to the boy. The child's mother alerted the guard to her son's inability to open his hands. But the keeper did not let himself be deterred from his plan, and as he brought the fish closer to the boy's hand, the little fist opened. The child grabbed the fish and gave it to the dolphin. Now we could ask what had happened here. Maybe it was the sounds the dolphin made, maybe its brain frequency, etc. Maybe. Maybe the beautiful weather in Valencia, or even the coach's good mood. We don't know why or how, but what we know is what we have seen. This little boy was suddenly able to open his hand.
He opened, he took the fish and gave it to the dolphin.
How beautiful.
Wow.
Never allow your logical thinking to erase your own positive experiences from your memory. Don't deny such a child this help just because you can't understand what's happening there. The treatment by the dolphins is free and paid for by the Spanish state. However, there's a very long waiting list to visit. The sentence, "Don't deny such a child this help just because you can't understand it," it reminds me, a friend of mine told me just a few days ago that when she was young, she had, very young, 3 years old, she had really strong migraines, and no one could figure out, the doctors couldn't figure out what the cause is, or how do you stop migraines with pills, right? And then her mother took her to a healer, and it went away, the migraines. And she said, what I really liked, and this is what the sentence reminded me of, she said, "I'm so glad that my mother had the courage to go against," this was in the 80s.
Knowledge.
Against, because in that time it wasn't, in fashion to look
Not
for
at that
alternative.
time, not now. We have people here, we just have one person here who came here, and she said, "I have an illness," or you call that degenerative, or it will take over all my body, and I feel pain, but the doctor said to me, there's something, you don't feel as much pain as you should feel having that illness. The other patients, we have to fill them with morphine, you not. So there's something we cannot understand. And I offered her to go to a healer, because we are here where we are living in contact with a healer, a Spanish man, where we have seen a lot of extraordinary things happen.
Yes.
And she, in the first moment, said yes, but supposedly then some suggestion came from somewhere, maybe to go with the guy for hiking or whatever, and it's over. I mean, she prefers not to go there and maybe to get rid of that illness, because she does not know or does not understand or whatever, a fear or some distraction is coming and it will not go. I went with my own daughter to that healer. She had migraine every day, the same as her mother. We went there, the healer took her head, made 2 times crack, crack. That's, I don't know, half a year or 1 year ago. The migraines never came back. So just give it a try.
Give it a try, but believe that there is a possibility.
Yeah, but it's not about, sometimes people say, you have to believe in a treatment like that. No, you don't have. Not at all. Because you can treat, if you make some Reiki, you can treat a dog with Reiki, if you are able to give Reiki. Not you studied it, no. To make Reiki, you have to be a Reiki. If not, it will not work. It's just a technique that you learn. But if you have that gift from the dog, no one requires to believe in your treatment. No, it will work. So it's coming in that moment, it's coming from the healer or through the healer, and it has nothing to do. Only they have in the first moment to put their confidence in the person who says, let's go there.
Yes.
No, let's go there. And then just maybe nothing would have happened to my daughter, and then maybe she would have said, I will never go back again. But it happened. So I go on with my story. So then she said to me, oh, I would like to go back and give a present to the healer for what he has done for me. And she asked me, what can I buy anything? I said, well, I don't know. You can buy some fruit. I know that he's eating fruit. So she brought a very beautiful basket of fruit, like a bouquet of flowers, and brought it there. And when the healer saw her, he started laughing and said, oh wow, yesterday night you had some problems with someone, no? You were arguing with someone, no? And she started laughing and said, yes, with my husband. So he could see that immediately. And then he took her hands, and my daughter had one son, and he said to her, so you are the mother of 2 children? And she said, no, I'm the mother of 1 son. And he said to her, well, come back in 2 weeks. And then she went to the hospital or to the doctor, and it turned out that she was pregnant in a very early state. And he could see that, he knew it.
Yes.
So, yeah, but that it's in that case, it's my daughter. She's, whatever I tell her, she would say yes. So you have to do that. Give it a chance. If your migraine after that is still there, maybe you would say, well, I will not go back to a person like that because it did not help me. No, in that case of your friend, well, wonderful, she can still remember. She was 3 years old and they brought her there, and it's still there. And because of that reason, now she is coming back to something like that. Yes. And she has a certain interest because it's her personal experience. So whatever, I mean, you have not even the right to talk on this planet if it's not based on your own personal experience. The rest is maybe the mistake, you're repeating the mistakes of another person who also had not real experiences. No? And now to explain why, we already said that, why we are doing that, why we are recording this and reading the book and giving comments. Just 1 or 2 weeks ago, a message came, let's see, and you can read it, just to know why we are doing what we are doing. So that message came out of the blue suddenly.
Effendi, hello. Thank you for reaching out to me. I stayed at Andalusia in the summer of 2015 with 2 of my close friends. During our stay, my friends and I spent an afternoon with you. The stories and experiences you shared with us have stayed with me every day since. I was 18 at the time, and it was really my first insight or exposure to the spiritual world that I had always felt and known was there, but I didn't quite know what to make of it all. I'm 26 now, and I'm in the early days of a much more intentional spiritual journey.
So it's the first time after 8 years, or even 9 nearly, that she is coming back.
Over the last year, I have seen a few spiritual mediums, as well as a curandera here in New Mexico.
A healer, a curandera.
It's been a lot of information and a lot to take in, but I'm quite excited to see where the journey will lead. As I'm going through it all, I keep coming back to my time at Andalusia and the things you shared with us. In hindsight, it was really the catalyst for me to pursue this more. I thought I would reach out just in hopes to speak with you and hear some of your experiences again, as well as to possibly gain some insight as I continue to step into my spiritual path.
So you see, that is the reason why we do what we do, so that these people can go and watch that and hear some more stories and feel connected. They can see us.
Yes.
And they say, oh wow, yeah, they're still alive, they're still there, because it's alive. One girl once said to me from Argentina, she said, wow, Effendi, you are glued under my eyelids after 1 or 2 years. So meaning each time I close my eyes, you are there. Yeah, something is happening. We don't know what that is. It's only for people who are hungry, who have a need for that. If you don't have a need, you just say, well, look, yeah, I mean, it was nice and peaceful there, but that's it. And you go and you forget about that. Okay.
In the USA, there lives a man who, in his youth, was spiritually adopted along with his entire family by a tribe of North American Indians. Nowadays, this man has the ability to bring people who have fallen into a coma back to a normal state of consciousness. Apparently, he does this simply by talking to the patients and offering them the option of leaving this world or returning again. Very often, even after a very long time in a coma, these patients come back. The doctors, astonished by the strange ability, which they themselves did not share, asked this man's permission to carry out some experiments on him in order to find out what caused his special abilities. After they measured his brain waves, they found that this man's brain was functioning at the lowest delta frequency. So delta frequency is the one associated with
the low
coma.
the low one, and
Yes.
he was on the lowest delta.
When the doctors told the healer what they had found, they said that it was impossible to walk through life or even drive a car being on this frequency. And they received the following answer: "That is not my problem. I'm quite happy to be able to help people. I live a normal family life, and of course I drive a car. You have this problem because you want to understand what's going on here. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just enjoying my life."
That's it.
I'm writing down my experiences here so that readers from the logical Western world become aware that we too might have strange abilities. Not only those people who were born and live in the Himalayas, Mongolia, or the Amazon have a soul and are not just bodies and thoughts. We are neither Maoris, nor Australian Aborigines, nor North American Indians. And yet, the mother can feel it when something happens to her child, even though she is far away from home. If her daughter or son returns home and complains about pain, a hug or a pat on the cheek is often enough to make the pain go away. Telepathy and healing power. We all have these gifts, but unfortunately in our world, we are not prepared and trained to use them. So true. All too often as children, we experienced inexplicable things. But as soon as we talked about it with an adult, it was dismissed as childish. As a child, it was normal to hug a tree, lean on its trunk, and tell it all our problems and experiences, often even perceiving the answers. The tree was our friend. But very soon, one of these older people, an adult, showed up to inform us that this tree was a beech. A beech is a type of tree. It sounds also like the beach.
Not a beech or an oak tree.
Now there was a name, and with it, the unknown, the magic, our little secret, disappeared. All that remained was a beech tree.
So you see, in the last episode, we were talking about that hug, that girl Shamaniya. When I wanted to give her the hug, she said, "No, it has to be heart to heart." And I said, "Well, you spoiled it completely, because the hug was based on feeling of something nice, give me a hug." So now in our days, people go into the forest to hug a tree. Well, the right name for that is bullshit. It's an intellectual approach that you pretend to feel what they told you what you have to feel. No. It has to be natural. You have to go out there, you sit, you are tired. You sit under a tree, you are tired, and suddenly tears are rolling down your face. And you don't know why. It's just there's a connection that might come from that tree. No? Often, we bring people to the healer, and then they go in, these New Age people. Well, it's not often, because normally we don't take them. But sometimes we do. And then they would say, "Oh, this man has such a nice energy." No, sorry, you cannot feel that energy. What you feel is your feeling. So you could go back out of that place and you could say, "Well, it was a good coffee, a nice cake. The man is very friendly, very loving. I felt at home." But what you feel is what you feel. Don't pretend to feel anything of another person, and less of a person like that. You will not. I cannot feel it. If I cannot feel it, I doubt that other people can feel it. No. I feel at home there. I feel nice, sometimes not. It depends on the day how I feel when I go there.
Yes,
but it's my feeling. Yeah. I cannot say I perceive the energy of that person. No, you do not. You do not. Take care of yourself. Observe yourself, how you react, how you feel. If you feel good there, then go back. If one day you feel not so good, then say, oh, because I had a bad day and I will go back, because in reality 10 days, 10 times before I felt good, so I will go back.
Yes.
But what you feel is what you feel. Okay? Mickey
Okay.
Mouse?
Last paragraph.
Okay, yeah, then we stop because it will get too long.
I hope that this story can help a little to ensure that those who have had or are having similar experiences do not give up looking for a more colorful and mysterious life. That's exactly what I said yesterday to one of our volunteers. It depends on what you make out of it. Now you can believe, you can choose to believe, and your world becomes more magical and colorful and beautiful, or you explain it away by asking questions. How did this happen? Where did this come from?
And they say to you, oh, I had a trauma in life and blah, blah, blah. Well, I would not say that. I would say I had a very interesting life. That's what you make out of it. If you want to have a trauma, you have. No problem. You make it complicated. But no one told you that this is a bed of roses. Bon Jovi, this is not a bed of roses. So it is not. But it's a school. So take it as a school and then say, oh, wow, that life really had something to offer to me.
Yes.
Good situation, not so good situation, but that's life.
That reminds me of I think the story you once told me about, was it a lady from the Netherlands who had undergone some very terrible experiences as a child and she did hypnosis sessions with you?
Yes? You want me to tell that?
Yes.
So that was a lady I met in the Netherlands when I was still looking for a partner. My desperate longing for that. So a nice lady, and we got in contact via internet. And I didn't know then when I came there, she told me that she had been abused for 7 years from a family member. And that was real. Often people tell that, but it might not be real. They make it up, they believe it, repeating certain things, and they end up believing it. But in that case, it was real. So, and then she said to me, but when that happened to me, I went out of my body and I was floating under the ceiling, looking down to these two bodies, what they were doing. And I said to her, oh wow, you have been for 7 years, you are lucky you have been for 7 years with your Lord. And she could have slapped me. I mean, it was a quite maybe stupid comment for her, but she did not. She said, I told my father, he had not the courage to go against it, and now, as she was older, that person it was a cousin of hers, he was abusing a younger family member. So we made a session, and in the session she met her spirit guide, her spiritual advisor. And she said to me, I'm in a room that is split, it's half darkness and half light. And I'm the part of the light. And my spiritual guide is with me, it's a young man. And he is telling me, he said, what you call a trauma, it's not a trauma at all. It is something that we wanted for you because we want to prepare you to help other women to whom that happens in one moment. And if you have not lived that really well lived, you will not be able to help. And then the woman was freaking out and said, oh wow, because in the dark part of the room, her abuser was her abuser. And she said, my guide is going over to help my abuser. And I said to her, so what do you want your guide to do? Because maybe through what we are doing right now, that man needs help. That man is sick, is mentally sick doing the things he's doing, but someone maybe could take him out of that sickness. So that's what your spirit guide is trying to do, and maybe with that your younger family member will be safe. So we simply don't know why the things are happening. We believe that we know. We say, well, it's all like mathematical. It's, this is that and this is that. And no, not at all. We don't know.
And also talks to how this world is not just beautiful. I mean,
No,
it is
no.
quite. Creation is not
you
just
heard-
beautiful. Creation
No, it is
quite
not.
fucked
So
up.
don't play there. Don't play this new age game that everything is fine here, because it is absolutely not. It's a school. You recently heard the video from Ram Dass, and he said, "I'm half suffering and half joy.
Yeah.
That is life. Be open to life. Observe it. Observe it how it is. Don't pretend that life is something different. It is not.
Yeah.
It is absolutely not.
What is the video called? How to survive in hell?
How to keep your heart alive, or something like that, in living in hell,
Yeah.
or something like
Ram
that, from
Dass,
a Ram Dass. It's a very, very beautiful thing with paintings behind, and a very nice teaching. He's talking about a Buddhist master, very well-known Buddhist master, who said, "Look, I am everything. No, I'm the girl that got abused. I'm the abuser who is still not at the point to feel compassion for other people." So we are all part of this game, of this school, and each person, each animal, each stone, each plant has to play his or her game in this play. There should be no judging. I mean, if something happens to you directly, don't put the other cheek. No, someone is coming into your house to rape your daughter. If you can, shoot him down, without any mercy, without any regret, because you have the same right as that person. Don't, when the person is going out of your home, don't call him back and say, oh, sorry, you forgot, I have a second daughter. That's very stupid. No, if something bad is happening, react to that. Recently we saw this about Einstein, no? And Einstein was all, he said in
Einstein
one moment,
and the bomb.
he said, I understood many things, but I could never understand why the atom, whether the electrons and neutrons are running around the nucleus of the atom, and to give it a name I would call it love. So he was very much into this
Esoteric.
peaceful, wonderful, blah blah blah, but there he said an organized crime can only be stopped by another organized crime. So don't go into this painting the world as something beauty. Of course, it is very beautiful, but it's also very ugly. There are both sides. Become aware. You have yin and yang for some reason.
Yes.
And you all freak out with that, how beautiful. Try to understand it.
There's no understanding.
Not to get it, to feel it how it is, no? We finished now?
We finished the last paragraph. One
Oh,
moment.
thank you.
Maybe I'll start again. I hope that this story can help a little to ensure that those who have had or are having similar experiences do not give up looking for a more colorful and mysterious life. Now in this age with the internet and cell phones, you hear again and again the expression open-minded, i.e. having something like an open mind or consciousness. That's quite okay. But what we need here in our wonderful world are people with an open heart. People who don't think this world and their life, but rather feel it. For open-minded, we already have Google, with all the information right and wrong, just like in our consciousness. The subconscious, our soul or spirit, feels comfortable being guided by a higher power.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Now, finished for today.
Finished for today.
Episode 2 is done.
Finished.
So, thank you.
Yes.
You tell them it would be a good idea to subscribe to that, and just
Yes.
to avoid that we have to send it to everyone again. So if you are really interested in that, no, you don't.
Please subscribe, like and share.
That's it.
That's it. Yes. And if you haven't watched the first video or need a reminder, the music in the background, you can find it on Bandcamp, The Wisdom of the Idiots.
That's it, no?
Hasta luego.
Goodbye. Thank you.